That ratty handbag probably has more holes than her brain. Security strip search everything. This little girl clearly wandered into the wrong building. The guards erupted in laughter as Maya Chen approached the checkpoint at Fort Blackwood Intelligence Center. 22 years old, oversized hoodie, cheap sneakers with holes, a canvas handbag held together with safety pins and prayers. Nobody knew that handbag contained something that would bring a colonel to his knees. Before we continue, hit subscribe. Drop a comment telling me which city you're watching from and stay until the end. This story will change how you see strength forever. Maya Chen had walked through fire, crawled through hell, and buried 6 people she loved more than herself. But nothing prepared her for the laughter. It started small. A snicker from the gate guard, a whispered joke between 2 soldiers. Then it spread like wildfire, jumping from person to person until the entire checkpoint was shaking with it. And Maya just stood there. Her right hand gripped the strap of her canvas handbag so tight her knuckles went white. Her left hand stayed buried in her hoodie pocket, hidden still. She had learned a long time ago that the hand you hide is the hand that saves you. Lieutenant Diana Reyes was the first to speak directly to her. Reyes was everything Maya wasn't, tall polished uniform pressed so sharp it could cut glass. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, not a strand out of place. Her boots reflected the morning sun like mirrors. She looked at Maya the way you'd look at gum stuck to your shoe. "ID," Reyes said. Not a question. A command. Maya reached into her hoodie pocket, the one that wasn't holding her left hand, and pulled out a folded letter. The paper was soft from being handled too many times. The creases were deep, permanent. She held it out. Reyes snatched it, her manicured nails scraping Maya's fingers. She unfolded it with one sharp motion, her eyes scanning the words. Then she laughed. "Logistics support," Reyes said it loud enough for everyone to hear. "You've got to be kidding me. What are you, 12? Did your mommy write this for you?" A corporal standing nearby, young, maybe 25, with a face that had never seen real combat, leaned forward. "Maybe she's here for Bring Your Daughter to Work Day." The soldiers roared. Maya didn't move, didn't flinch, just watched them with eyes that had seen things these soldiers couldn't imagine in their worst nightmares. But they didn't know that. They saw a girl in a ratty hoodie with chipped nail polish and dark circles under her eyes. They saw someone weak, someone lost, someone to mock. Reyes crumpled the letter and tossed it at Maya's feet. "Pick that up," Maya said. Her voice was quiet, soft, almost gentle. But something in it made Reyes pause. "Excuse me." "The letter," Maya said. "Pick it up." For a moment, nobody breathed. The laughter died. The air went thick. Then Reyes threw her head back and laughed even harder than before. "Oh, this is precious," she said, wiping her eyes. "The homeless girl thinks she can give orders. Sergeant Torres, you hearing this?" Sergeant Miguel Torres stepped forward. He was older than Reyes, maybe 40, with a thick mustache and arms like tree trunks. He'd been watching the whole scene with growing amusement. "I'm hearing it," he said, "but I'm not believing it. Little girl, you better check your attitude before someone checks it for you." Maya's eyes moved to him, slowly, deliberately, like a sniper acquiring a target. Torres felt something shift in his gut, something that told him to stop, to walk away, to leave this girl alone. He ignored it. "What's in the bag?" he demanded. "And I want to see your hands. Both of them. Now." Maya didn't move. "I said now." Still nothing. Torres took a step forward. "You deaf or just stupid? Show me your hands or you'll what?" The words cut through the air like a blade. Torres stopped. His hand was already moving toward his sidearm muscle memory from years of training. But something in Maya's voice made him freeze. She still hadn't raised her voice, hadn't moved, hadn't shown an ounce of aggression. But Torres had been in combat. He'd seen death up close. He knew what danger looked like. And this girl, this tiny, messy-haired girl with the safety pin handbag, she looked like danger. "Your hands," he said again, but his voice had lost its edge. Maya slowly pulled her left hand from her hoodie pocket. Torres's breath caught. Her hand was scarred. Badly. The skin was twisted and puckered like melted wax that had hardened wrong. 3 of her fingers were crooked, bent at angles that shouldn't be possible. The thumb was missing entirely. "IED," Maya said, her voice flat. "Kandahar province. I was 17. Nobody laughed now. A young private barely out of high school, his uniform still stiff with newness, took a step back. His face had gone pale. That's not possible," he whispered. 17. You can't deploy at 17. Maya's eyes found his. "You can if they need you badly enough." Reyes recovered first. She always did. That was her gift, the ability to ignore anything that made her uncomfortable. "Nice story," she said. "But scars don't prove anything. I want to see what's in that bag, now, or I'm calling military police and having you detained for trespassing." "I'm not trespassing," Maya said. "I have clearance." "That letter isn't clearance. That letter is toilet paper. Open the bag." Maya's grip tightened on the strap. Her scarred hand trembled slightly, not from fear, but from memory. From all the times she'd been told to open things, reveal things, expose herself to people who didn't deserve to see. "I don't recommend that," she said. Reyes's smile was sharp enough to draw blood. "Is that a threat? It's advice. From a homeless girl with a ratty handbag and a sob story about scars, I'll take my chances." She snapped her fingers at a young corporal. "Davis, search the bag." Corporal James Davis stepped forward eagerly. He was 23, fresh from training, desperate to prove himself. He'd been one of the loudest laughers. Now he was going to be the one to take down the weird girl. He'd have a story to tell at the barracks tonight. He reached for the bag. Maya's eyes tracked his hand. Her body went still, the kind of still that predators achieve before they strike. "Last chance," she said. Davis laughed. "Lady, you watch too many movies." He grabbed the zipper and yanked. The bag opened, and everything that made Maya Chen who she was spilled onto the cold metal table. First came the stuffed rabbit. It was small, worn. One ear was torn, held on by a few threads. Its button eyes were scratched and dull. Once it had been pink. Now it was gray with age and love. Davis held it up like a trophy. "Oh my God," he said, his voice dripping with mockery. "She brought her teddy bear. No, wait, it's a bunny. Even better. Did your mommy pack this for you, sweetheart?" The soldiers laughed. Some of them doubled over. One slapped his knee. Maya watched the rabbit swing from Davis's fingers. Her face didn't change. Not one muscle. But her eyes went somewhere else entirely. Somewhere dark. Somewhere only she could see. "Put it down," she said. Davis grinned. "Oh, she's protective of her little bunny. That's adorable. Torres, you seeing this? The scary homeless girl has a stuffed animal." Torres was watching Maya's face. He wasn't laughing anymore. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. "Davis," he said slowly. "Maybe you should—" "Hold on, Sergeant. I'm just getting started." Davis reached back into the bag. He pulled out a prescription bottle, squinting at the label. "Sertraline," he read aloud. 50 milligrams, anti-anxiety medication. He whistled. No wonder she's so spacey. She's drugged out of her mind. More laughter. Louder now. What else we got? Davis dug deeper. A cheap flip phone, seriously. What is this? 2005. Some loose change. Oh, wait. What's this? He pulled out a leather journal. It was old, the cover cracked and worn. Pages stuck out at odd angles, covered in handwriting. Davis flipped it open. Dear Ghost, he read aloud, his voice mocking. I dreamed about you again last night. You were laughing the way you used to before the mission. Before everything went wrong. I miss your laugh. Stop. Maya's voice was different now. There was something in it that made Davis's throat tighten. He looked up from the journal. Maya hadn't moved, hadn't raised her hand, hadn't done anything threatening, but the air around her had changed. It was heavier somehow, colder. I said stop, she repeated. Davis's mouth opened, then closed. He suddenly couldn't remember why any of this had seemed funny. Reyes stepped in, snatching the journal from his hands. Oh, this is gold. She writes letters to ghosts. She's literally crazy. She flipped through the pages, her smile growing wider. Look at this. Maps, codes, little drawings. She thinks she's Jason Bourne. Those are private, Maya said. Nothing's private when you're on military property, sweetheart. You should have thought about that before you showed up looking like a Goodwill reject. Reyes tossed the journal onto the table. It landed open, pages fluttering. Maya's eyes followed it, stayed on it. A photo had slipped out. It lay face up on the metal surface. 6 people in tactical gear, faces painted, weapons ready. In the center, a woman with kind eyes and a crooked smile held a pink stuffed rabbit. The same rabbit Davis had been swinging around moments ago. Who's that? Torres asked. His voice was quiet now. Careful. Maya didn't answer. Reyes grabbed the photo. Probably downloaded it from the internet. Some girls have celebrity crushes. This one has military crushes. Pathetic. Give that back, Maya said. Or what? You'll write an angry letter to your ghost friends. More laughter. But it was thinner now. Nervous. Something in the air had shifted. An older soldier, a master sergeant named Patterson, with 30 years of service and eyes that had seen too much, stepped forward. He'd been watching the whole scene from the edge of the crowd. Lieutenant Reyes, he said slowly. Maybe we should run her credentials through the system before what? Before I expose this nut job for what she is. Reyes waved the photo. She's probably some conspiracy theorist who thinks she's a secret agent. We get them every few months. Delusional, harmless, annoying. She turned back to Maya. Let me guess. You're going to tell us you're some kind of special operative, that you've killed people, that you have classified clearance that we can't see because it's too secret. Maya said nothing. That's what I thought. Davis, what else is in the bag? I want to see everything. Davis hesitated. He glanced at Maya, then at Torres, then back at the bag. His hand was shaking slightly. Maybe we should... Now, Corporal. Davis swallowed hard and reached into the bag again. His fingers touched something cold, something heavy. He pulled it out slowly. It was a case. Small, no bigger than a paperback book. Made of titanium matte, black with no markings. No logos. Just 3 small locks and a faint outline where a fingerprint sensor sat recessed into the surface. The laughter died completely. Patterson moved forward, his face suddenly pale. That's not civilian tech. Reyes grabbed the case from Davis's hands. She turned it over, examining it from every angle. Her confidence was cracking now, though she tried to hide it. It's nothing, she said. Probably a knockoff from Amazon. Some spy movie merchandise. That's military-grade encryption housing, Patterson said. Level 7 clearance minimum. I've seen these before. Only 3 units in existence. One is at the Pentagon, one is at CIA headquarters, and one... He stopped. One what? Reyes demanded. Patterson's eyes moved to Maya. One was given to the sole survivor of Operation Nightfall. The name fell into the silence like a stone into still water. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Torres was the first to speak. Nightfall. That's a myth, a training story they tell recruits to scare them. It's not a myth, Patterson said. His voice was barely above a whisper. I was on the extraction team that was supposed to bring them home. We found bodies, 6 of them, but we never found the 7th. Reyes's hands were shaking now. The case trembled in her grip. You're saying this girl, this child is... Open it, Patterson said to Maya. If you can. Maya stepped forward. Her movement was slow, deliberate. Every soldier in the area tracked her like she was a live grenade. She took the case from Reyes's unresisting fingers. I'm going to need everyone to step back, Maya said. Nobody moved. That wasn't a request. Torres grabbed Reyes's arm and pulled her back. The other soldiers followed, creating a circle around Maya. She stood alone in the center. Her scarred left hand came up the twisted fingers, pressing against the fingerprint sensor. A soft beep, then another, then a third. The locks clicked open one by one. Maya lifted the lid. Inside, resting on black velvet, was a medal. It was unlike anything they'd ever seen. 3 interlocking flames, 4 forged from some kind of dark metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. There were no words visible on its surface, no inscription. But Patterson knew. He fell to his knees, actually fell like his legs had given out beneath him. The shadow ember, he breathed. It's real. It's actually real. Reyes's voice came out as a croak. What is it? What does it mean? Patterson couldn't take his eyes off the medal. Tears were streaming down his weathered face. It means we've been mocking a ghost, he said. It means this girl walked 40 miles through enemy territory with a bullet in her side. It means she completed a mission that killed everyone else on her team, a mission so classified it doesn't exist in any record. It means... He looked up at Maya. It means you're her. You're the one who didn't die. You're the one they erased. Maya closed the case. Her face was still unreadable, but her scarred hand was trembling again. I died, she said softly. They just forgot to tell my body. Davis made a sound, a small broken whimper. He was staring at the stuffed rabbit still lying on the table where he'd dropped it. That rabbit, he whispered. It belonged to someone on your team. Her name was Sarah, Maya said. Sergeant Sarah Mitchell. She was 34 years old. She had 2 kids back home. She carried that rabbit because her daughter gave it to her before deployment. She said it kept her brave. Davis's face crumpled. I was swinging it around. I was making fun of it. You didn't know. I should have known. I should have. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Maya picked up the rabbit. She held it gently, carefully, like it was made of glass and memories. Sarah used to say something, Maya continued. She said, the weight we carry isn't in our bags. It's in our hearts. She was talking about this. She tucked the rabbit back into her handbag. She gave it to me the night she died. Told me to keep it safe. To remember her laugh. To remember all of them. Reyes finally found her voice. It was small now. Shaking. Why did you let us do that? Why didn't you say something? Why did you just stand there while we... Because I needed to see, Maya said. See what? Maya's eyes met hers. I needed to see if anything had changed, if the people who send us to die have learned anything, if they see us as humans now, or still just as tools. She shouldered her handbag. Now I have my answer. A commotion erupted from across the compound. Shouting, running footsteps, the squawk of radios. A colonel burst through the checkpoint gates, his face red, his uniform disheveled like he'd been running. Behind him, a dozen officers followed, their faces a mixture of terror and awe. Colonel Marcus Webb. 42 years of service, 3 wars, a chest full of medals that meant nothing compared to what Maya carried in her ratty handbag, skidded to a stop 10 feet away. He looked at Maya. And then he did something that made every soldier present question everything they'd ever been taught. He saluted. Not the casual kind of salute you give to a superior, not the obligatory kind you give during ceremonies. A salute of reverence, of respect, of awe. "Miss Chen," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "On behalf of the United States military, I want to apologize for—" "I'm not here for apologies," Maya said. "Then why are you here?" Maya's eyes swept across the checkpoint, across Reyes, who couldn't meet her gaze, across Davis, who was crying silently, across Torres, who stood at attention like his life depended on it, across Patterson, still on his knees. "Someone's selling Nightfall," she said. "Someone's selling the mission that killed my team. And I'm the only one left who knows what's real." Colonel Webb's face went gray. "That's impossible. All records were destroyed. All evidence was all evidence except this." Maya tapped her temple. "The files are in here. Every detail, every name, every code. And someone in your facility, someone with access, is putting a price on the graves of my friends." The silence that followed was absolute. Maya started walking toward the main building. She paused beside Reyes. "You were right about one thing," she said. "That letter was toilet paper. The real authorization is above your clearance level, above everyone's clearance level, except mine." She kept walking. Her ratty handbag swung at her side. Her worn sneakers squeaked against the concrete. Her scarred left hand hung loose, finally still. Behind her, the checkpoint stood frozen, a collection of soldiers who had laughed at a girl and discovered she was a weapon. Davis picked up the photo that had fallen from Maya's journal. 6 faces stared back at him. 6 people who had died so that one could live. He held it like a prayer. Patterson finally rose to his feet. His knees cracked. His face was wet. "What do we do now?" Torres asked. Patterson watched Maya's retreating figure grow smaller against the massive compound. "We pray," he said. "We pray that whatever she finds doesn't burn this whole place down." Torres swallowed hard. "And if it does—" Patterson's jaw tightened. "Then we probably deserve it." The morning sun climbed higher over Fort Blackwood. Somewhere inside the compound, encrypted files waited to be decoded. Somewhere inside the compound, a traitor waited to be found. And somewhere inside the compound, a girl with a ratty handbag and a medal that didn't exist was about to remind everyone why some ghosts should stay buried. Maya Chen had come home, and nothing would ever be the same. Colonel Webb caught up to Maya before she reached the main building. "Miss Chen, wait." Maya didn't slow down. Her worn sneakers kept their steady rhythm against the concrete. "I said wait." "I heard you." Webb grabbed her arm. Maya stopped. She looked down at his hand, then up at his face. Something in her eyes made him release her immediately. "Sorry," he said. You can't walk into the intelligence center without an escort. Protocol." "Protocol." Maya almost smiled. Protocol said I was dead. Protocol said nightfall never happened. Protocol put 6 names on a wall that doesn't exist. I know. I know what they did to you, to your team. Do you? Webb's jaw tightened. I was the one who signed the kill order. I was the one who sent you in. Maya turned to face him fully. For the first time, emotion flickered across her face. Not anger. Something worse. Recognition. You, she said softly. You're Webb. You were a captain then. I was. You promised Sarah we'd be home by Christmas. Webb's composure cracked. His eyes filled with something raw, something he'd clearly been carrying for 5 years. I did. We trusted you. I know. She trusted you. She showed me your message the night before the mission. She said Captain Webb keeps his promises. He's one of the good ones. Webb looked away. His hand came up to cover his mouth, but Maya saw his chin trembling. I'm sorry, he said. God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. The intel was wrong. Everything was wrong. By the time you realized Sarah was dead, Marcus was dead, Jin was dead, Cooper Vasquez Thompson, all dead. And you were alone. I was 17 years old. I had a bullet in my side and 40 miles of hostile territory between me and extraction, and I was alone. Webb forced himself to meet her eyes. How did you do it? How did you survive? Maya's scarred hand twitched. I made them a promise. All of them. I held each of them as they died, and I promised I would finish the mission. I promised I would come home. I promised I would remember. She started walking again. I kept my promises, Colonel. Can you say the same? Webb fell into step beside her, his long strides matching her shorter ones. The leak, he said. You mentioned someone selling Nightfall intel. How do you know? Because I received a package 3 weeks ago. No return address. Just a flash drive and a note that said, they're selling your ghosts. What was on the drive? Mission coordinates, team names, extraction codes, things that only existed in 2 places, classified servers and my head. Webb stopped walking. That's impossible. Those servers were air-gapped. No external access. No way to... And yet someone did. A young lieutenant approached clipboard in hand, clearly sent to intercept them. Colonel Webb, sir, the intelligence team is assembled in conference room 7. They're waiting for... He saw Maya and stopped. His face went white. You, he breathed. Maya tilted her head. Do I know you? The lieutenant, his nameplate read. Harrison took a step back. His hands were shaking so badly the clipboard rattled. You don't remember me, he said. Of course you don't. I was nobody. I was just a private on the extraction team. I was the one who found... His voice broke. I found Sergeant Mitchell's body. I was the one who had to tag her. I couldn't stop shaking. She was still holding something. A piece of cloth. Pink. The rabbit's ear, Maya said. It tore off when I took it from her. Harrison made a sound like he'd been punched. I kept it, he said. The ear. I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't just leave it there. I've had it in my wallet for 5 years. He reached into his pocket with trembling fingers and pulled out his wallet. From behind his military ID, he withdrew a small piece of faded pink fabric. He held it out to Maya. She took it slowly. Her scarred fingers closed around it, and for just a moment, her composure slipped. Her eyes glistened. Thank you, she whispered. Harrison wiped his face roughly. I'm sorry we didn't find you. I'm sorry we gave up the search. I'm sorry. You didn't give up. You were ordered to stop. There's a difference. Webb cleared his throat. Lieutenant Harrison, take us to conference room 7, and make sure no one interrupts us. Harrison straightened, pulling himself together with visible effort. Yes, sir. Follow me. They walked through corridors that buzzed with whispered conversations. Word had spread fast. Every soldier they passed stopped to stare. Some saluted. Some just watched with wide eyes. Maya ignored them all. Harrison led them to a heavy door marked with security warnings. He swiped his badge, entered a code, and stepped back. "Ma'am," he said to Maya, "whatever you need, whatever it takes, I'm here." Maya nodded once and walked through the door. The conference room was full. 12 intelligence officers sat around a long table, laptops, open faces tense. At the head of the table stood a woman in her 50s, silver hair cropped short, eyes sharp as broken glass. Director Catherine Price, head of Fort Blackwood Intelligence Operations. The woman who had personally signed the order to erase Operation Nightfall from existence. She looked at Maya and didn't blink. "Miss Chen, I was told you were dead." "You were told wrong." "Clearly." Price gestured to an empty chair. "Sit." "I'll stand." "Suit yourself." Price leaned back, crossing her arms. "Colonel Webb tells me you have information about a potential security breach regarding a classified operation." "Nightfall." Several officers shifted uncomfortably. One actually stood up. "That operation doesn't exist," he said. "It's a myth, a training scenario. There's no—" Maya reached into her handbag and placed the titanium case on the table. "Open it," she said. The officer, his nameplate read. Morrison reached for the case. "It won't open for you," Maya said. "It's keyed to one person. The only person who made it back." She pressed her thumb to the sensor. The locks clicked. She lifted the lid. The shadow ember metal caught the fluorescent light, but somehow it seemed to absorb more than it reflected. The room went silent. Morrison sank back into his chair. Price leaned forward, her composure finally cracking. "That metal was supposed to be destroyed with everything else." "You can't destroy what someone carries inside them," Maya said. "You erased the files. You burned the documents. You paid off the families and made them sign NDAs. But you couldn't erase me. We tried to protect you. You tried to protect yourselves." Price's jaw tightened. "We did what we had to do. The mission was compromised from the start. If it had gotten out that we sent a 17-year-old into a black site extraction, you would have faced consequences, God forbid. People would have died. More people. The intelligence we recovered saved thousands of lives. And it cost 6. The room held its breath. Maya closed the case and tucked it back into her handbag. "I didn't come here to relitigate the past," she said. "I came here because someone is selling that past, and the only people who knew the details are either dead or sitting in this room." Price straightened. "You're accusing one of us?" "I'm stating a fact. Nightfall was compartmentalized. Level 7 clearance minimum. Only 12 people had full access." She looked around the table. "I'm looking at 9 of them right now." Morrison stood up again, his face red. "This is outrageous. I've served this country for 23 years. I'm not going to sit here and be accused by some what?" Maya's voice was quiet, deadly. "Somewhat, Morrison." He stopped. Whatever he'd been about to say died in his throat. "Sit down," Price said. Morrison sat. Webb moved to stand beside Maya. The flash drive she received contained authentic mission data. Coordinates, team compositions, extraction codes. Someone with full clearance leaked that information. Or someone hacked it. An officer named Chen, no relation, suggested. "Impossible," Price said. "The servers are air-gapped, no network connection, no external access. The only way to get that data is to physically remove it from this building. Then that's what happened, Maya said. Someone walked out of here with my team's blood on a flash drive. A young analyst at the end of the table raised her hand hesitantly. She couldn't have been older than 25, her face pale, her eyes wide. Ma'am, I'm Analyst Reese. I was assigned to archive the inactive operations last year. And Reese swallowed hard. There was an incident, about 6 months ago. A server audit showed that someone had accessed the Nightfall files, just for a few seconds. Not long enough to download anything or so we thought, but the access came from Director Price's terminal. Every head turned to Price. Price's face went rigid. That's impossible. I haven't accessed those files since the day we sealed them. Someone did, Reese said, using your credentials, your biometrics. Webb stepped forward. Director, I think we need to... I didn't do this. Price's voice was steel. I have no reason to sell classified information. I have no debts, no foreign contacts, no motive. Everyone has a motive, Maya said. The question is whether we can find it. The door burst open. Lieutenant Harrison rushed in, his face ashen. Colonel Webb, Director Price, we have a problem. What kind of problem? The dark web monitoring team just flagged a new posting. Someone's auctioning Nightfall intel. Starting bid is $5 million. The room erupted. Officers shouted over each other. Phones came out. Laptops were slammed shut. Maya stood perfectly still in the chaos. When? She asked, her voice cutting through the noise. Harrison checked his tablet. The auction goes live in 6 hours. And ma'am, there's a bonus item listed. What bonus? Harrison's hands were shaking again. You, he said. They're offering location data on the sole survivor of Operation Nightfall. They're selling you. Maya felt something cold settle in her chest. Someone in this building wasn't just selling her team's graves. They were selling her death. She looked around the conference room. 12 faces. 12 possibilities. 12 potential traitors. One of them met her eyes just a fraction too long. Morrison. His face was the right amount of shocked. His body language was the right amount of outraged. Everything about him screamed innocent, and Maya had been trained to see what people were screaming to hide. Morrison, she said. He looked at her. What? Your hands. Everyone looked at Morrison's hands. They were flat on the table, perfectly still, too still. I'm a professional, he said. I don't panic under pressure. No, Maya said. You don't, but your left thumb does. Morrison's left thumb was pressed so hard against the table that the nail had gone white. It's a stress response, Maya continued. Micro-expressions. You can control your face. You can control your voice. But the body always tells the truth. Morrison laughed. It came out wrong, too high, too fast. This is ridiculous. You're reading tea leaves. I've done nothing wrong. Then you won't mind if we check your terminal, Webb said. Of course not. Check whatever you want. Price nodded to an analyst who immediately began typing. 30 seconds passed. A minute. The analyst looked up, her face troubled. Director Morrison's terminal shows no unauthorized access. It's clean. Morrison spread his hands. Satisfied? Maya shook her head. Check his personal devices. You have no authority to... She has my authority, Price said. Hand them over, Morrison. Now. Morrison's composure finally cracked. Just for a second. Just a flicker of something behind his eyes. Fear. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a phone. Standard government issue. That's not the one, Maya said. Excuse me, the other one. The one in your left pocket. Morrison's face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Your suit jacket has 3 pockets. Right side standard phone, the weight pulls the fabric a certain way. Left inside pocket wallet, different weight distribution. But your left hip pocket is also weighted. Something small, something you forgot was there. Morrison didn't move. You really think you can read my pockets? I spent 3 weeks behind enemy lines with nothing but my eyes and my training. I can read your pockets. I can read your pulse from here. I can tell that you've blinked 17 times in the last 30 seconds, which is twice your baseline rate from when I walked in. I can tell that the sweat on your forehead started exactly when Harrison mentioned the auction. She stepped toward him. I can tell that you're terrified, and I can tell that you should be. Morrison broke. He lunged across the table, grabbing a pen from the nearest officer and driving it toward Maya's throat. Maya moved. Nobody saw exactly what happened next. One moment Morrison was attacking. The next he was on the floor, his arm twisted behind him at an angle that made bones creak. Maya's knee pressed into his spine. Her scarred hand held his wrist. Her good hand was already reaching into his left pocket. She pulled out a phone. Small. Untraceable. The kind you buy with cash and destroy after one use. Got you, she said. Morrison screamed, not from pain, from something worse, failure. Webb and 2 other officers rushed forward to restrain him. Maya stepped back, flipping the phone in her hand. 6 hours, she said. We have 6 hours to find out who he's working with and stop that auction. Price was already on her own phone, barking orders. Maya looked down at Morrison, who was being hauled to his feet. Why? She asked. Morrison's face twisted into something ugly. Because you should have died with the rest of them, he spat. Because every day you breathe is a reminder of our failure. Because some secrets deserve to stay buried. My team deserved to stay alive. Your team was collateral damage. The mission was what mattered. The mission was always what mattered. Maya leaned close, her voice barely above a whisper. You're wrong, she said. The mission was never what mattered. The people were what mattered. And you forgot that. She straightened and turned to Webb. He's not working alone. Someone with higher clearance gave him access to Price's credentials. Someone who knew the system well enough to cover their tracks. How do you know? Because Morrison is a coward, and cowards don't act alone. Webb nodded. We'll find them? You have 6 hours. What about you? Maya shouldered her handbag, the ratty canvas, the safety pins, the weight of a medal that shouldn't exist. I'm going to find out who's buying, she said, because stopping the seller only works if there's no one left to sell to. She walked toward the door. Chen, Price called after her. Maya. Maya paused, but didn't turn around. Thank you, Price said, for coming back, for not letting them win. Maya was quiet for a moment. I'm not doing this for you, she said. I'm not doing this for the mission. I'm not even doing this for myself. Then why? Maya finally turned. Her eyes were dry, but something in them burned. Because Sarah believed in me. Because Marcus trusted me. Because Jin laughed at my jokes, and Cooper shared his rations, and Vasquez taught me how to fight, and Thompson stayed awake with me when I was scared. Her voice cracked. Just once. Because they're dead, and I'm not. And until I find out why I won't stop, I can't stop. She pushed through the door. The hallway swallowed her. And somewhere in the depths of Fort Blackwood, a clock started ticking. 6 hours. 6 hours to find a traitor. 6 hours to stop an auction. 6 hours to keep her team from being sold like merchandise. Maya Chen had faced longer odds. She'd faced worse enemies. But she'd never faced a betrayal this close to home. And she'd never had so much to lose. Her scarred hand slipped into her handbag fingers, brushing against worn pink fur. "I'm still here," she whispered. "I'm still fighting." The rabbit didn't answer. But somewhere, somehow, Maya felt like Sarah could hear her. And that was enough. Maya found Lieutenant Harrison waiting outside the conference room, his face tight with anxiety. "Where's the communications center?" she asked. "East Wing. But ma'am, you can't just take me there." Harrison hesitated for exactly 1 second. Then he nodded and started walking. "Morrison's been here 12 years, he said as they moved through the corridor. "Decorated officer. 2 commendations. Nobody suspected him. That's how it works. The ones you trust are the ones who hurt you most. Do you really think there's someone else involved?" Maya didn't answer. Her mind was already 3 steps ahead, piecing together fragments that didn't quite fit. Morrison had access, but not enough. Someone had given him Price's credentials, someone higher up the chain. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "You're getting closer, but you're looking in the wrong direction." Maya stopped walking. "What is it?" Harrison asked. She showed him the message. His face went pale. That's an internal number. That came from inside the base." "I know, but it means our second traitor is watching us right now." Harrison's hand moved toward his sidearm. "Don't," Maya said. "If they wanted me dead, they've had plenty of chances. They want something else." "What?" "That's what we're going to find out." They reached the communications center, a massive room filled with analysts' screens and the constant hum of electronic surveillance. The head of the unit, a severe woman named Captain Yates, looked up from her station. "Miss Chen, I was told you'd be coming." "The auction," Maya said. "Where is it being hosted?" Yates gestured to a screen. "Dark web marketplace called The Vault. Military-grade encryption. We've been trying to crack it for 3 hours." "Don't bother. I know someone who can get us in." Yates raised an eyebrow. "With respect, our cyber team is the best in the country." "Your cyber team follows rules. The person I'm calling doesn't." Maya pulled out her cheap flip phone. She dialed a number from memory. 3 rings. Then a voice, young and sharp. "You still alive, Ghost?" "Barely. I need a favor, Pixel." A laugh crackled through the speaker. "You always need favors. What is it this time?" "The vault. I need access in the next 4 hours." Silence. "Then, you know what you're asking. That place has more firewalls than the Pentagon." "I know. And you know I swore I'd never touch military stuff again after what happened." "I know that too." More silence. Maya could hear Pixel breathing, thinking. "This is about Nightfall, isn't it?" "Yes." "Someone selling your ghosts?" "Yes." A long exhale. "Give me 2 hours. I'll send you a link. But Maya, be careful. The vault isn't just a marketplace. It's a trap. The people who run it don't just sell information. They collect it." "I understand. Do you? Because last time you said that you disappeared for 5 years." Maya's grip tightened on the phone. "I didn't disappear. I was erased." "Same result, different words." Pixel paused. "Don't get erased again. The world needs more ghosts like you." The line went dead. Yates was staring at her. "Who was that? Someone who doesn't exist." Before Yates could respond, an alarm blared through the communications center. Red lights flashed. Screens flickered. "What's happening?" Harrison shouted. An analyst at a nearby station looked up, his face ashen. "Security breach. Someone just accessed the Nightfall files again. Right now, from this building." Maya moved before anyone else could react. "Where?" The analyst's fingers flew across his keyboard. "3rd floor, server room B." Maya ran. Harrison followed his boots, pounding the floor behind her. They hit the stairs at full speed, taking them 2 at a time. 3rd floor, server room B. Maya burst through the door. Empty. No, not empty. In the corner, a laptop sat open on a maintenance cart. Its screen glowed with lines of code, a download in progress. 87% complete. Maya lunged for it. A gunshot cracked through the air. The bullet missed her by inches, sparking off the server rack behind her. She dove, rolling behind a row of equipment as another shot rang out. Maya. Harrison was at the door, his weapon drawn. Stay back. A third shot. This one caught Harrison in the shoulder. He went down hard, his gun clattering across the floor. Maya's training took over. She moved low, silent, using the server racks as cover. Her eyes scanned for the shooter. There. A figure in the shadows. Military uniform. Face obscured. You should have stayed dead, the figure said. Female voice. Familiar. Maya's blood went cold. Reyes. Lieutenant Diana Reyes stepped into the light, her service weapon trained on Maya's chest. Surprised? Reyes asked. You shouldn't be. I was at the gate. I saw everything. I had front row seats to your little resurrection. You're the second traitor. I prefer the term opportunist. Morrison was the muscle. I'm the brain. You gave him Price's credentials. I cloned them 6 months ago. Price trusts me. She trusts everyone with a pretty smile and a perfect uniform. Reyes's lip curled. You know what she doesn't trust girls who show up in ratty hoodies looking like they crawled out of a dumpster? Why? Reyes laughed. Why you want to know why? Because I spent 15 years climbing the ladder in this organization, 15 years of perfect performance reviews, 15 years of being overlooked for promotion because I wasn't part of the old boys club. So you decided to sell out your country. I decided to get what I was owed. $5 million, a new identity, a life somewhere warm where nobody knows my name. She gestured at the laptop, and all I had to do was sell some old files about a dead team. They weren't just files. They were people. They were casualties, acceptable losses. That's what the brass called them. Remember, I read the debriefs. 6 operatives sacrificed for intelligence that stopped 3 terrorist attacks. A fair trade, they said. Maya's scarred hand clenched. Sarah Mitchell had 2 children. Sad. Marcus Thompson was getting married that spring. Tragic. Jin Park was 22 years old, same age I am now. He used to sing Korean lullabies when we couldn't sleep. Reyes's smile flickered, just for a moment. Stop, she said. Cooper saved my life twice. Vasquez taught me how to read a room. Thompson held my hand when I was scared. I said stop. They were people, Reyes. They had names. They had families. They had futures. And now they're dead. Reyes's composure cracked. They're dead, and you're alive, and none of it matters because the mission is what matters. That's what they teach us. That's what they drill into our heads from day one. The mission is everything. Then why are you shaking? Reyes looked down at her hands. The gun trembled slightly. Because you know, Maya continued. Deep down you know this is wrong. You know that selling their graves is wrong. You know that what you're doing is shut up. You could stop this, right now. You could... I said shut up. Reyes pulled the trigger. Click. Empty. Maya moved. She crossed the distance between them in 2 seconds, her scarred hand closing around Reyes's wrist, twisting. The gun clattered to the floor. Maya's other hand found Reyes's throat, pinning her against the server rack. You miscounted, Maya said. 6 shots, standard magazine. You're done. Reyes struggled, but Maya's grip was iron. The download, Reyes gasped. It's already at 98%. You can't stop it. The auction goes live in 3 hours. Even if you kill me, the buyers are already lined up. Who's buying? Everyone? China? Russia, North Korea, private contractors. They're all bidding. Who's running the vault? Reyes laughed, blood speckling her lips. You think I know? Nobody knows. That's the whole point. The vault is a ghost, just like you. The laptop beeped. Download complete. Maya threw Reyes to the ground and dove for the laptop. The screen flickered. A message appeared. Too late, Ghost. See you at the auction. Then the laptop went dark. Maya stood there breathing hard, her scarred hand aching. Behind her, Harrison groaned. He was pulling himself up his shoulder, bleeding but functional. Maya, he said. The download. I know. What do we do? Maya looked at Reyes, who was curled on the floor, coughing. We make her talk. She grabbed Reyes by the collar and hauled her up. The auction. How do I stop it? Reyes smiled, blood on her teeth. You can't. The only way to stop it is to buy it yourself. But you don't have $5 million. And even if you did, the vault only accepts cryptocurrency. Untraceable. Unhackable. Maya's phone buzzed. A message from Pixel. Link ready. But there's a problem. The auction isn't just selling files. There's a live component. Someone has to physically deliver the original drives. The buyer wants proof. Maya read the message twice. Where's the delivery point? She asked Reyes. Reyes's smile widened. I'm not telling you anything. Yes, you are. Make me. Maya leaned close. I spent 3 weeks in enemy territory with a bullet in my side. I buried 6 people I loved. I walked through hell and came out the other side. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You think you scare me? You think your silence scares me? Reyes's smile faltered. I don't need to hurt you, Maya continued. I don't need to threaten you. I just need to wait. Because in about 30 seconds, Colonel Webb is going to walk through that door. And when he finds out you shot one of his lieutenants and tried to sell classified intelligence to foreign powers, he's going to make your life very, very difficult. Footsteps thundered in the hallway. Reyes's eyes darted to the door. 12 years, Maya said. That's the minimum sentence for treason. But with the aggravating factors, you're looking at life. No parole, no visitors. Just you and a concrete cell for the next 50 years. The footsteps grew louder. Or, Maya said, you can tell me where the delivery is happening, and maybe I put in a word with the prosecutor. Reyes's composure shattered. The warehouse district, she blurted. East Side, Building 47. The buyer's representative is meeting the courier at midnight. Who's the courier? Reyes's face twisted. I don't know. Morrison was supposed to arrange it, but he got caught before he could make contact. The door burst open. Webb stormed in, flanked by armed soldiers. What the hell happened here? Lieutenant Reyes is our second traitor, Maya said. She shot Harrison and downloaded the remaining Nightfall files. The auction goes live in 3 hours. Webb's face went rigid. Reyes. Reyes didn't answer. She was staring at the floor, defeated. Get her out of here, Webb ordered. Medical attention, then interrogation. I want to know everything she knows. Soldiers moved in, hauling Reyes to her feet. As they dragged her toward the door, she turned to Maya. You think you've won, she said. But you haven't. The vault doesn't lose. They have contingencies, backups, fail-safes. Even if you stop this auction, there will be another, and another, until someone finally pays the price for your team. Then I'll stop those too. Reyes laughed. You can't fight forever, Ghost. Eventually even ghosts fade. She was gone. Maya turned to Webb. I need a team. Small. Fast. Trusted. For what? The delivery point. Building 47. If we intercept the courier, we get the original drives. Without the drives, the auction can't verify the intel. The whole thing falls apart. Webb nodded slowly. I can give you 4 operators. Best we have. I don't want the best. Then what do you want? Maya thought of Harrison bleeding on the floor but still trying to help. She thought of Patterson falling to his knees at the sight of her medal. She thought of the young analyst Reese, who had the courage to speak up even when it might cost her career. I want people who remember why we fight, she said. I want people who understand that the mission is just a means to an end. I want people who would die for each other, not for a flag. Webb was quiet for a long moment. I know exactly who to send, he said finally. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Get me the remnants. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. The remnants. She'd heard of them. A unit made up of soldiers who had lost teammates, lost missions, lost everything except their will to fight. They were the military's ghosts, the ones who had nothing left to lose, just like her. They'll be here in 1 hour, Webb said. Brief them yourself. Maya nodded. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Pixel. Found something. The Vault isn't just selling your files, they're selling the location of every surviving operative from Black Operations over the last 20 years. Nightfall is just the beginning. If this auction succeeds, hundreds of people will be targeted. Maya's blood turned to ice. This wasn't just about her team anymore. This was about everyone. She looked at Webb. We're not just stopping an auction, she said. We're stopping a massacre. Webb's face hardened. Then let's stop it. He headed for the door. Maya didn't follow immediately. She stood alone, her scarred hand pressed against her chest where the rabbit rested in her handbag. Sarah, she whispered. I know you can't hear me. I know you're gone. But I need you to know something. She closed her eyes. I'm not doing this for revenge. I'm not doing this for justice. I'm doing this because you believed in me. Because you saw something in a 17-year-old girl that nobody else could see. Because you trusted me with your rabbit and your stories and your hope. A tear slid down her cheek. I'm going to stop them. I'm going to save the others. And then maybe I can finally rest. She opened her eyes, wiped her face, straightened her shoulders. Maya Chen walked out of the server room, leaving behind the broken laptop, the blood on the floor, and the ghost of who she used to be. Ahead of her waited a team of survivors, a warehouse full of shadows, and a clock that wouldn't stop ticking. 3 hours. That's all she had. 3 hours to intercept a courier. 3 hours to stop an auction. 3 hours to save hundreds of lives. Maya had faced longer odds before, but she'd never had so many people counting on her. Her scarred hand clenched. Let's finish this, she said to no one, and kept walking. The remnants arrived in silence. 4 figures walked into the briefing room, their footsteps barely making a sound. They moved like shadows, like people who had learned to exist in the spaces between moments. Maya studied each one as they entered. First came a woman in her 30s, short hair streaked with gray eyes that had seen too much death. Her nameplate read, Sergeant Elena Vance. She walked with a slight limp, favoring her right leg. Behind her, a massive man with hands like sledgehammers and a face carved from stone. Master Sergeant David Bear Kowalski. He didn't look at anyone, just found a corner and stood there, arms crossed. Third was a young man, maybe 28, with quick eyes and nervous fingers that kept tapping against his thigh. Specialist Ryan Torres. No relation to the sergeant from the gate. Last came an older woman, mid-40s silver, threading through her dark hair. Her uniform bore no rank insignia, no nameplate, nothing to identify her. She simply nodded at Maya and took a seat. Colonel Webb stood at the front of the room. This is the team, he said. Best we have for this kind of work. Maya looked at them. Broken people. Haunted people. People who had lost everything and kept fighting anyway. Her people. "I'm Maya Chen," she said. "We know who you are," Vance replied. Her voice was rough like gravel scraping stone. "Nightfall. The one who walked." "The one who crawled," Maya corrected. "Walking came later." Bear spoke for the first time, his voice surprisingly soft for such a large man. "They told us you were dead." "They tell everyone that. Makes the paperwork easier." The nameless woman in the corner smiled slightly. "I like her." Torres stopped tapping his fingers. "What's the mission?" Maya pulled out her phone and connected it to the room's display. Pixel's intel appeared on the screen. 3 hours ago, someone downloaded the complete Nightfall files from our servers. In 90 minutes, those files go up for auction on a dark web marketplace called The Vault. Starting bid is $5 million. "So we stop the auction," Torres said. "Crash the servers." "Can't. The Vault uses distributed hosting across 17 countries. Even if we took down one node, the others would compensate." "Then we find the sellers," Vance suggested. "We caught 2 of them, Morrison and Reyes. But there's a third component. A courier. Someone has to physically deliver the original drives to the buyer's representative. Without that delivery, the buyer can't verify the intel. The whole auction falls apart." Bear uncrossed his arms. "Where's the delivery?" "Warehouse District. Building 47, midnight." The nameless woman leaned forward. "That's in 45 minutes. "I know. That's not a lot of time to plan." "I know that too." Torres laughed, but there was no humor in it. "So we're going in blind against an unknown number of hostiles to intercept a courier we can't identify carrying drives we can't let fall into enemy hands. And we have less than an hour to do it." "Yes." "I love it." Vance stood up her hand, moving to the weapon at her hip. "What's our extraction plan?" "We don't have one." Silence. Bear spoke slowly. "You're asking us to walk into a potential death trap with no backup and no exit strategy." "Yes." "Why should we—" Maya reached into her handbag. She pulled out the titanium case, set it on the table, and opened it. The shadow ember metal caught the light. "Because this is what I carried out of hell," she said. "Because 6 people died so I could live. Because somewhere in that warehouse someone is about to sell their memory to the highest bidder." She looked at each of them in turn. "I'm not asking you to die. I'm asking you to fight. For them. For everyone who never made it home. For everyone whose sacrifice got erased because it was easier than remembering." Vance stared at the metal. Her jaw tightened. "I lost my team in Fallujah," she said quietly. "IED took out our vehicle. I was the only survivor. They gave me a medal too. It sits in a drawer. I can't look at it." Bear nodded. "Kabul. Ambush. Lost 4 brothers in 3 minutes. They told me to move on. To heal. As if healing was something you could schedule." Torres's fingers had stopped tapping. "My older sister. She was Delta Force. Died on a mission that officially never happened. Our parents still don't know how she really died." The nameless woman said nothing. But something in her eyes shifted. Something that spoke of losses too deep for words. Maya closed the case. "We all have ghosts," she said. "We all carry weight that nobody else can see. But tonight, we have a chance to make sure nobody else has to carry this weight. Tonight we stop them from selling our dead." Vance picked up her gear bag. "I'm in." "In," Bear rumbled. Torres grabbed his weapon. "Let's go hunting." The nameless woman simply stood her silence, an answer of its own. Webb stepped forward. "You have transport waiting outside. Unmarked vehicle. Radio silence once you leave the base. This operation doesn't exist. If you get captured, we don't exist either, Maya finished. I know the drill. She shouldered her handbag. The rabbit pressed against her side. Move out. The drive took 23 minutes. Maya sat in the back of the van, flanked by Vance and Torres. Bear drove while the nameless woman rode shotgun, her eyes scanning every shadow they passed. What do we call you? Maya asked the woman. Ghost. That's my name. The woman turned a flicker of amusement in her eyes. Then I guess there are two of us. Vance checked her weapon for the third time. Intel says we're looking at 4 to 6 hostiles. Private contractors. No government affiliation. That we know of, Torres added. The courier is the priority, Maya said. We need those drives. Everything else is secondary. Bear's voice came from the front. 2 minutes out. Maya felt her pulse quicken. Not from fear, from anticipation, from the familiar rush of approaching danger. Her scarred hand flexed. The fingers that could barely grip a cup of coffee could still pull a trigger, could still fight, could still kill. She had hoped to never do this again, but hope was a luxury she couldn't afford. 1 minute, Vance touched Maya's arm. If this goes sideways, it won't. But if it does, if we don't make it out, tell them we were here. Tell them we fought. Maya met her eyes. You'll tell them yourself. The van stopped. We're here. They exited in silence, weapons drawn, bodies low. The warehouse loomed ahead, massive and dark. Maya signaled with her hands. Old training muscle memory that never faded. Vance and Torres went left. Bear went right. Ghost disappeared into the shadows so completely that Maya almost forgot she existed. Maya moved forward alone. The side entrance was unlocked. Too easy. Her instincts screamed trap. She went in anyway. The interior was vast and mostly empty. Crates stacked in rows, dust hanging in the air, the smell of rust and old oil, and voices. Maya pressed herself against a crate, listening. The buyer's representative is late, male voice, annoyed. He'll be here? $5 million doesn't grow on trees. Female voice, calm. I don't like waiting. Every minute we sit here is another minute they could be tracking us. Relax. The drives are secure. Once the handoff happens, we disappear. Maya's earpiece crackled. Vance's voice barely audible. Eyes on. 3 hostiles by the north wall. 1 by the east door. 2 more patrolling. 6 total. As expected. Ghost, do you have the courier? A pause. Then, negative. There's a 7th. In the office above us. Armed. Professional. 7? Not 6. Can you get to the courier without being seen? Give me 2 minutes. Maya held her position, watching the shadows. Torres's voice came through. I've got movement outside. Vehicle approaching. Black sedan. Diplomatic plates. The buyer's representative. They were out of time. All units prepare to engage on my signal. Maya moved. She came around the crate fast and low, her weapon trained on the nearest hostile. He saw her started to raise his gun. Too slow. She took him down with a single shot. The warehouse erupted. Gunfire echoed off the metal walls. Muzzle flashes lit the darkness like lightning. Maya moved through it all like water flowing between cover points, taking shots where she could. Vance's voice in her ear. 2 down on the north side. Bear. East door secure. Torres. I've got the sedan pinned. Buyer's rep isn't going anywhere. But Maya was focused on one thing. The office. She sprinted for the stairs, bullets sparking off the railing behind her. One caught her sleeve, tearing the fabric. She didn't stop. The office door was locked. She kicked it open. A man stood inside a briefcase clutched to his chest. The courier. Middle-aged glasses, the kind of face you'd forget immediately. He wasn't alone. Ghost was already there, her weapon pressed against the back of his head. "Got him," she said. The courier's eyes were wild with fear. "You don't understand. They'll kill me. If I don't deliver, they'll—" "Who hired you?" Maya demanded. "I can't tell you. They have my family, my wife, my daughter. If I talk, they die." Maya felt something shift in her chest. She knew that fear. She had lived that fear. "What's your name?" The courier blinked, thrown by the question. "What? Your name?" "David. David Hartman." "David, listen to me. I know what it's like to have people you love threatened. I know what it's like to feel like you have no choice. But there's always a choice. You don't understand. I do understand. Better than you know." Maya lowered her weapon slightly. 5 years ago, I watched 6 people I loved die. I carried their bodies. I buried them. And then I spent years trying to forget. But I couldn't. Because some things are worth remembering. Some people are worth fighting for. David's hands were shaking so badly the briefcase rattled. "They said if I delivered the drives, they'd let my family go. They promised. They lied. How do you know? Because people like them always lie. That's how they control you. That's how they own you." Ghost pressed her weapon harder against David's skull. "Maya, we don't have time for this." "Give me the briefcase," Maya said. David hesitated. "David, I can't promise everything will be okay. I can't promise your family is safe. But I can promise you this: if you help us, we will find them. We will bring them home. And we will make the people who threatened them pay." Tears streamed down David's face. "How can I trust you?" Maya reached into her handbag and pulled out the stuffed rabbit. "You see this? It belonged to a woman named Sarah Mitchell. She had 2 kids. She loved them more than anything. She carried this rabbit because her daughter gave it to her. And when she died, when she bled out in my arms, she gave it to me. She asked me to remember, to keep fighting." She held the rabbit up. "I've kept this promise for 5 years. I will keep my promise to you." David looked at the rabbit, at Maya's face, at the tears she wasn't trying to hide. He handed her the briefcase. "Second floor," he whispered. "There's a laptop. It has the encryption keys. Without them, the drives are useless." Ghost moved immediately. "I'll get it." Maya opened the briefcase. Inside, 3 small drives sat in foam cutouts. 3 drives containing everything. Every name. Every location. Every secret. "Torres," she said into her earpiece. "Status on the buyer's rep." Static. "Torres, respond." More static. Then Bear's voice strained. "We have a problem. Torres is down. The buyer's rep, he had backup. A lot of backup." Maya's blood went cold. "How many?" "At least 10. They're surrounding the warehouse." The floor shook. An explosion somewhere outside. "They're breaching the east wall." Maya grabbed David's arm. "Come with me." They ran. Down the stairs through the chaos toward the rear exit. Vance appeared beside her, blood on her face but still moving. "We're trapped," Vance said. "They've got vehicles blocking every exit." "There's always another way." Maya's mind raced. The warehouse, the crates, the roof. "Up," she said. "We go up." They climbed. David first, then Vance, then Maya, through a maintenance hatch onto the roof. The night air hit them like a wall. Cold, sharp, full of sirens in the distance. Ghost emerged from another hatch, laptop in hand. Got it. Bear came up last, carrying Torres over his shoulder. The young specialist was unconscious, blood soaking through his shirt. He needs a medic, Bear said. Maya looked across the rooftops. 100 meters away, another building, lower, accessible. Can you make that jump with him? Bear's jaw set. Watch me. They ran. One by one, they leaped across the gap. David nearly fell, but Vance caught him, hauling him onto the other roof. Maya was last. She looked back at the warehouse, now swarming with black-clad figures. One of them looked up. Their eyes met. Maya recognized the face. Director Catherine Price. For one frozen moment, they stared at each other across the chaos. Then Price raised her weapon. Maya jumped. The bullet grazed her shoulder as she flew through the air. She hit the other roof hard, rolling her scarred hand, screaming in protest. Vance pulled her up. Was that? Yes. Price is the third traitor. She's not just the third traitor, Maya said, her mind reeling. She's the one running the vault. She's been selling secrets for years. Nightfall was just the latest. Everything made sense now. The cloned credentials, the untraceable access, the way Morrison and Reyes had been caught so easily. They were supposed to be caught. Price had sacrificed her own people to make herself look innocent. And Maya had walked right into it. We need to get off this roof, Ghost said. Now! They moved, down a fire escape, through an alley, into another unmarked van that Ghost had somehow arranged. Torres groaned in the back, regaining consciousness. What happened? You got shot, Bear said. Don't move. Did we get the drives? Maya looked at the briefcase in her hands. We got them. Torres managed a weak smile. Then it was worth it. The van sped through the city streets. Maya's shoulder burned where the bullet had grazed her. Her scarred hand throbbed. But she was alive. They were all alive. And they had the drives. Vance looked at her from across the van. What now? Price knows we have the intel. She'll come after us with everything she has. Let her come. Maya, she's a director. She has resources, contacts, power. So did I once. Maya opened the laptop Ghost had retrieved. Lines of code scrolled across the screen. Pixel, she said into her phone. I need you to access a laptop. I'm sending you the IP address now. On it, Pixel replied. What am I looking for? Everything. Every transaction. Every communication. Every buyer Price has ever worked with. Keys clicked on the other end. Maya, do you know what you have here? This isn't just Nightfall. This is everything. 20 years of classified operations. Names, dates, locations. This is enough to bring down half the intelligence community. Good. Good. This is radioactive. If you release this, I'm not releasing it. I'm using it. She ended the call. Vance was watching her. What's the plan? Maya looked at the rabbit sitting in her lap. Sarah's rabbit. Sarah's promise. Price thinks she's the predator, Maya said. She thinks she's been hunting us this whole time. She tucked the rabbit back into her handbag. She's about to find out what it feels like to be prey. The van disappeared into the night. Behind them, sirens wailed. Ahead of them, the end game waited. Maya Chen had walked through fire once. She was about to do it again. And this time, she wasn't alone. The safe house was a cramped apartment above a laundromat. The smell of detergent seeped through the floorboards as Maya spread the contents of the laptop across a makeshift table. Torres lay on a cot in the corner, Vance pressing bandages against his wound. Bear stood guard by the window, his massive frame blocking what little light came through. Ghost sat in shadows, her presence more felt than seen. David Hartman huddled on a chair, his face pale, his hand still shaking. "My family," he said. "You promised." Maya didn't look up from the laptop. "Pixel, did you trace the location?" "Working on it. Price covered her tracks well, but she made one mistake. She used her personal phone to coordinate the kidnapping. I've got a cell tower ping from 3 hours ago." "Where?" "Industrial complex, east side, about 20 minutes from your position." Maya turned to David. "We'll get them back." "How can you be sure?" "Because I don't break promises." She looked at Ghost. "Take Bear. Find David's family. Bring them home." Ghost nodded and moved toward the door. Bear hesitated. "You need us here." "What I need is leverage. Price won't negotiate without it. Get me that leverage." Bear and Ghost disappeared into the night. Maya's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You have something that belongs to me. I have something that belongs to you." Maya felt ice spread through her veins. "What does she have?" Vance asked, reading over her shoulder. Before Maya could answer, another message appeared. A photo. Colonel Webb. Bound to a chair. Blood on his face. Eyes defiant but afraid. "She took Webb," Maya whispered. Torres tried to sit up, groaning in pain. How he was at the base, surrounded by security. "Price is the head of intelligence. She has access to everything. Everyone." Another message. "Building 12. Alone. 1 hour. Bring the drives or Webb dies." Vance grabbed Maya's arm. "It's a trap." "Of course it's a trap." "Then you can't go." Maya looked at the photo again. Webb's face. The man who had sent her team to die. The man who had carried that guilt for 5 years. The man who had fallen to his knees when he learned she was alive. "He didn't abandon me," she said. "Not by choice. He followed orders. He did what he was told. And he spent every day since trying to make it right." "That doesn't mean you have to die for him." "I'm not dying for him." Maya stood up. "I'm ending this. Tonight." She grabbed the drives and headed for the door. "Maya, wait." She paused. Vance's voice cracked. "I just found you. We all did. The remnants. We don't have anyone left. You're the first person in years who made us feel like we still matter. Like our ghosts still matter." Maya turned. She looked at Vance, at Torres, at the rabbit sitting on the table. "Your ghosts do matter," she said. "That's why I have to go. Because if I don't, Price wins. She gets to keep selling our dead. She gets to keep turning sacrifice into profit." She walked back to the table and picked up the rabbit. "Sarah gave me this because she believed in me. She believed I would finish what we started. I'm not going to let her down." Torres forced himself upright, his face gray with pain. "At least let us come with you. You can barely stand. I can still shoot." Maya almost smiled. "Stay here. Protect David. Wait for Ghost and Bear to return with his family. If I don't come back, don't say that. If I don't come back, Pixel has everything. Every file, every name, every transaction. Release it all. Let the world see what Price really is." She walked out before they could argue. The night air was cold. Her shoulder throbbed where the bullet had grazed her. Her scarred hand ached. But her heart was steady. She had been walking toward death since she was 17 years old. Tonight, she would finally catch up to it. Building 12 was an abandoned office complex, its windows dark, its parking lot empty. Maya approached alone, the drives in her pocket, the rabbit in her handbag. The front door was unlocked. She pushed it open and stepped inside. "Director Price," she called out. I'm here. Silence. Then footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Price emerged from the shadows, her uniform pristine, her silver hair gleaming. Behind her, 2 armed guards flanked Colonel Webb, still bound to the chair. Maya Chen, Price said. The ghost who refuses to stay dead. You should have made sure I was actually gone. I tried. Believe me, I tried. But you're resilient. I'll give you that. Maya stopped 10 feet away. Let Webb go. The drives first. Maya pulled them from her pocket and held them up. These, Price's eyes glinted with hunger. You have no idea what those are worth. 20 years of intelligence, 20 years of secrets. Governments would go to war over those drives. And you've been selling them piece by piece. I've been surviving. Do you know what they pay directors, what they expect us to sacrifice? I gave this country my entire life. My marriage, my health, my sanity. And what did I get? A pension and a pat on the back. So you decided to sell out everyone who trusted you. I decided to take what I was owed. Maya's scarred hand clenched. 6 people died because of nightfall. 6 people who trusted you to bring them home. They knew the risks. Every operative knows the risks. They were my family. Price laughed. Family. You were children playing soldier. Sarah Mitchell thought she was saving the world. Marcus Thompson actually believed in the mission. And you, she shook her head. You were just a broken foster kid with a death wish. Maya felt something crack inside her. Sarah believed in people. Sarah was naive. Marcus believed in justice. Marcus was a fool. And I believe in finishing what I started. Maya threw the drives at Price's feet. Price looked down at them, surprised. That easy no bargaining, no heroic last stand. I don't need the drives. What? I already uploaded everything to a secure server, every transaction, every buyer, every name you've ever sold. In about 30 minutes, every major news outlet in the world is going to receive an anonymous package containing proof of what you've done. Price's face went white. You're bluffing. Try me. For the first time, fear flickered in Price's eyes. Kill her, she ordered the guards. They raised their weapons. Maya didn't move. Before you shoot, she said, you should know that my team is currently rescuing the family of your courier. David Hartman is ready to testify against you, and Colonel Webb here knows exactly where you keep your offshore accounts. The guards hesitated. I said kill her. Think carefully, Maya continued. In 30 minutes, this building is going to be surrounded by federal agents. Everyone associated with Price will be arrested. Everyone who helped her will be prosecuted. She looked directly at the guards. Or you can walk away. Right now. Leave her to face what she's built. One guard lowered his weapon. Then the other. What are you doing? Price screamed. I'm giving you an order. With respect, ma'am. One guard said. I didn't sign up for treason. They walked out. Price stood alone. Her composure finally shattering. You ruined everything, she hissed. Everything I built. Everything I planned. Maya walked toward her slowly. You know what Sarah said to me before she died? Price backed away. She said, don't let them win. She was bleeding out in my arms and her last words were about stopping people like you. Stay back. She believed that good people still existed, that even in the darkest places there was light. Price reached for a weapon at her hip. Maya was faster. She caught Price's wrist twisted and sent the gun skittering across the floor. Her scarred hand closed around Price's throat, pressing her against the wall. I could kill you, Maya whispered. Right now. Nobody would blame me. Nobody would even know. Price's eyes bulged with fear. But I'm not going to. Maya released her. Price collapsed, gasping. "Why?" she wheezed. "After everything I've done." "Why?" Maya knelt beside her. "Because Sarah wouldn't want me to become like you. Because the people I loved didn't die so I could become a killer. They died so I could survive, so I could remember, so I could show the world that even broken people can do the right thing." She stood up. "You're going to spend the rest of your life in a cell. Every day you'll wake up knowing that a 22-year-old girl with a ratty handbag and a torn hoodie brought down your empire." Price started crying. Maya didn't watch. She walked to Webb and untied his bonds. "Colonel, can you walk?" Webb rubbed his wrists, his eyes wet. "You came for me. Don't make it weird." He actually laughed. A broken, exhausted sound, but still a laugh. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you for not giving up. I made a promise." They walked toward the exit together. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. "How did you know they would come?" Webb asked. "Pixel tipped off the FBI an hour ago. I just needed to stall. And the upload, the files going to the media." Maya smiled slightly. That part was true. The doors burst open. Federal agents swarmed the building, their weapons drawn. Behind them, Maya saw Vance Bear Ghost and Torres, along with David Hartman, and a woman holding 2 small children. His family. Safe. Alive. David broke away from the agents and ran to Maya. "Thank you," he sobbed. "Thank you, thank you." "Take care of them," Maya said. "Give them a good life." She kept walking. Outside, the morning sun was rising. Pink and orange streaked across the sky like watercolors. Harrison was waiting by a military vehicle, his arm in a sling, his face haggard. "Miss Chen," he said. "Colonel Webb, I'm glad you're both safe." "Harrison," Maya said, "I need one more favor." "Anything." "There's a memorial wall inside the base for operatives who died in service." "Yes, ma'am." "I want 6 names added to it. Sarah Mitchell, Marcus Thompson, Jin Park, Cooper Davis, Maria Vasquez, Thomas Thompson." Harrison's eyes filled. "I'll make sure of it." Maya reached into her handbag and pulled out the stuffed rabbit. She looked at it for a long moment. Worn pink fur, button eyes, one ear reattached with thread. "And I want this placed beneath their names." Harrison took the rabbit carefully, reverently. "May I ask why?" "Because they deserve to be remembered. Not as casualties, not as acceptable losses, but as people, as heroes." Harrison nodded, clutching the rabbit to his chest. "It will be done." Maya turned to face the sunrise. Vance appeared beside her. "What now?" "Now I learn how to be 22. "What does that even mean?" Maya thought about it, about all the years she'd lost, about the childhood she never had, about the future she'd never imagined. "I don't know yet," she admitted, "but I'm going to find out." Bear walked up David's little girl, riding on his shoulders. "We're heading back to base. You coming?" Maya looked at her team. The remnants, broken people who had found each other in the ruins of their own lives. "Yeah," she said. "I'm coming." They piled into the vehicle together. Torres leaning on Vance, Ghost sitting in shadows as always, Bear driving with surprising gentleness. Maya sat by the window watching the city wake up. Her phone buzzed. A text from Pixel. "The files are live. Every news outlet in the world is running the story. Price is done. The vault is done. You did it, Ghost." Maya typed back, "We did it." She put the phone away. Vance caught her eye. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking about Sarah. About what she would say if she could see me now. What do you think she'd say? Maya smiled. Really smiled. For the first time in 5 years. She'd say, "About damn time." The vehicle rumbled on through the morning traffic. Behind them, Building 12 swarmed with federal agents. Price was being led out in handcuffs, her face empty, her career over her legacy destroyed. Ahead of them, the base waited. And beyond that, something Maya had never allowed herself to imagine. A future. The gate guards saluted as they drove through, not because they were ordered to, because they wanted to. Word had spread. Everyone knew. The girl with the ratty handbag had brought down an empire. Maya Chen stepped out of the vehicle and felt the sun on her face. Harrison approached, his expression solemn. "Miss Chen, the memorial is ready. Would you like to see it?" She nodded. They walked together through the base. Soldiers stopped to watch. Some saluted. Some cried. All of them knew. The memorial wall was simple. Black granite, gold letters. 6 new names had been added at the bottom. Sarah Mitchell, Marcus Thompson, Jin Park, Cooper Davis, Maria Vasquez, Thomas Thompson. And beneath the names in a small glass case sat the pink stuffed rabbit. Maya stood there for a long time. She didn't cry. She had no tears left. But she felt something release inside her, a weight she'd been carrying for 5 years. "I kept my promise," she whispered. "You're not forgotten. You never will be." A hand touched her shoulder. Vance. "The team is waiting," she said softly. "There's talk of getting breakfast. Real food. Torres says he knows a place." Maya touched the glass case one final time. "Goodbye, Sarah. Thank you for believing in me." She turned and walked away. The remnants were gathered by the vehicle. Broken people, haunted people, her people. Torres grinned despite his pain. "I hear they have really good pancakes." "Pancakes sound good," Maya said. They drove off together, leaving the memorial behind. But they weren't leaving Sarah behind, or Marcus, or Jin, or Cooper, or Maria, or Thomas. Those names would live on. Those stories would be told. And Maya Chen would finally learn what it meant to live. Not as a ghost, not as a weapon, but as a person. A survivor. A 22-year-old girl who had walked through fire and come out the other side. The sun climbed higher in the sky. Somewhere a new day was beginning. And for the first time in 5 years, Maya Chen was ready to meet it. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Because that's what surviving really means. It means choosing to live. And Maya Chen had finally made her choice. She chose hope. She chose family. She chose life. And nothing would ever take that away from her again. Some people carry medals they never earned. Others carry wounds that never heal. But the strongest among us carry both, and still find reasons to keep walking. Maya Chen walked into Fort Blackwood with a ratty handbag and a broken past. She walked out with something far more valuable, a future worth fighting for. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below telling me where you're watching from. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss another story. Until next time, remember the weight we carry isn't in our bags, it's in our hearts. And sometimes that weight is what makes us strong.